Hey everyone, welcome back to another dividend investing video. It's time to provide an update on my 2023 Roth IRA investing. This is the 5th video in our series of Roth IRA investing where I'm letting you guys follow all the moves I make in my Roth IRA this year. I have a set plan buying SCHD and real estate investment trusts. So let's look at SCHD after its reconstruction last month in March. I'll show you the REIT I've been buying back in March as well. And I'll show you a complete overview of my Roth IRA progress for Q1 of 2023. So let's get to it. I'm Nick, and this is the Dividend Growth Income Channel. Thank you for joining me today. I'm not a financial advisor or guru. I'm just a regular guy who wants to share my love of dividend growth investing and building financial independence with passive income. If you could, please do me a favor, smash the like button and subscribe to keep up with future videos. This helps us out more than you can imagine with the algorithm, so we can bring you more quality dividend investing content. The Roth is really a wonderful place to hold dividend stocks because you don't have to pay any taxes on any of the dividends you collect in that account. This is why we're limited to how much we can add to these accounts every year. And for those of us under the age of 50, that limit is $6,500. And if you're over 50, you get an extra $1,000 as a catch-up contribution. That's one benefit of getting older, I suppose. Now, to hit this contribution goal, I'm transferring $125 into my Schwab Roth IRA, and I do this every Monday. 52 times 125 will get you $6,500. Now, for me, the Roth is ideal for 3 types of investments. The first, index funds. This is money meant for retirement, and index funds are a sensible and conservative way to invest your money and have it nicely diversified, a very hands-off approach. And the second are reliable, blue-chip, dividend-paying stocks. Now, because of the taxable nature of dividends, it's better to avoid taxes when we can, right? And dividends do create that taxable event every year. So if we can put these in tax-advantaged accounts, that is preferable. The third type of investment I like for Roth IRA are the real estate investment trusts. This is how you invest in real estate, just like you invest in a stock. These companies pay non-qualified dividends, and that means they're taxed as your ordinary income, just like your paycheck is. So these are even better to have in the Roth IRA account because the dividends off your REITs are going to be taxed at a higher rate as your dividends from your Johnson & Johnsons and your Apple. So my plan for my own personal Roth is I'm combining SCHD and real estate, and that's what I've been doing. SCHD holds 100 of the best U.S. dividend stocks and tracks the Dow Jones U.S. Dividend 100 Index. So in a sense, I'm making 2 out of 3 of my investment goals with this one fund using an index fund that follows a dividend stock index. And so I'm buying 1 share of SCHD every single week on Monday with the weekly contribution I make to my portfolio. We are 14 weeks in. Now in the 15th week, here I'm tracking every single SCHD purchase I made in this account. I don't care about trying to time it. I just buy on Monday. That helps me leave the emotions out of the equation. I'm building up a position in a quality dividend index. So to me, it's way more important to build this up slow and steady with dollar cost averaging. Now I'm recording this on April 10th. This is the 15th May of the year, and I did purchase my SCHD today, so let's go ahead and update this now. And the share I nabbed today was at $73.11. And hey, that bumps my cost down a little bit. You love to see that. These 15 shares of SCHD should generate me about $38.40 in dividend income over the next 12 months. We also collected our first SCH dividends for the year back in March here a couple weeks ago. Collected $7.16. And our next dividend payment for SCHD will be in June, and it should come close to doubling that March payment. We'll see. Now, I'm down 3% on these SCHD purchases, but that is okay with me. I'm buying it every week regardless. 5 or 10 years from now, I also anticipate there will be some sizable capital gains. And by the end of the year, I'll have added 52 shares of SCHD into this account. And of course, I have more money left in the account after these SCHD purchases, and these are the funds I add into real estate investment trusts. So let's talk about that. All right, so every week I'm left with about $50-some after I make my SCHD purchase, and I just let this accumulate until the end of the month. By that point, I'll have about $200 plus whatever I made in dividends. So I don't drip in this particular account. I use these dividends to invest where I want. And this is a contrast to what we're doing in our dividend growth income portfolio with Fidelity, where I am dripping. Now, I track those dividends here. For reference, I've got about 2 years of maxed contributions in this Roth. So it's really bringing in about $450, $500 in dividends already annually. I also have rewards that come in from my Schwab American Express card, which adds a little bit of a bonus on top of that. Now, right now, I'm putting all of that towards my REITs in addition to the cash that didn't go into SCHD. Now, on March 27th, I added to another one of my REIT positions. For the first time in 2023, I added to Realty Income, ticker O, the monthly dividend company. I bought 4 shares for $244.96. This was at a cost of $61.24. Making this purchase added $12.08 of forward income into this account, and since it's paid monthly, that adds $1 a month. So you can think of O, 4 shares you purchase, you're going to get about $1 a month. That's a nice way to think about it. And of course, this is going to grow slowly over time, as it has over the last 28 years. I think Realty Income is really one of those stocks that just about every dividend investor should have some exposure to. If I could only own one REIT, it would be this one, just for their reliability, the track record, the consistency. And the timing looked good. O was right at that 5% mark when I purchased, and to me, that is a sweet spot for O. This is a stock with a 5-year average dividend yield of 4.33. So my cost basis is actually closer to $65, so I'm definitely pleased to be able to lower that. And I will quite possibly be buying more O at the end of April, but I'll just see where the REITs on my list are at that point, and that time will come in a few weeks. I do hold a few other REITs in this account. We've purchased some American Tower, Vici Properties, and CubeSmart earlier in 2023. I'm pretty happy with these 3. Wouldn't mind seeing CubeSmart drop just a little bit, but self-storage has been a wonderful subsector in REITs right now. But by the way, I talk about the consolidation in the self-storage REIT sector in our latest dividend recap video, as Extra Space Storage has won a bid to acquire Life Storage, and I encourage you to check that out after this video. I have more to come on that particular sector in future videos, so be sure you are subscribed to stay in the loop. So just want to remind you, my friends, that Seeking Alpha is still providing my viewers with a special on their premium membership. If you like their site but want to take it to the next level, you can use the link in my description here to get 60% off your first year. That's only $99. That's about $8 a month. Well worth it in my opinion, and I use the site for much of my research to bring you this content, and using my link will help out my channel greatly, and I really do appreciate that very much. So let's wrap this up by going over the SCHD reconstitution from a few weeks ago. I haven't really gone over this in too much detail yet. Let's see what's gone and what's been added. SCHD really does hit that perfect mix of yield and dividend growth. We have well over 3% yield coupled with a 5-year dividend growth rate of over 15%. Now, finding individual stocks that do this consistently is no easy task. Combine this with the potential for price appreciation, and you have a 5-star fund, in my opinion. The performance actually beats the S&P 500 over the last 5 years and nearly tracks it over the last 10. Now, SCHD does all this by tracking the Dow Jones US Dividend 100 Index, which uses its own criteria to choose stocks. I went over this in depth in our last video, so I'm not going to repeat that here, just leaving a link in the description. But what is important for this video is that once a year, this index is updated based on that process. And that change hits near the end of March, so we now have a new and updated look to SCHD, and leaving the index for 24 stocks. And what you need to keep in mind is that the top 10 stocks in the fund make up a little over 40% of the weight, so most of these companies that are removed were not heavily weighted in the index. IBM was the highest weighted out of the group. It had been in the top 10 at various points over the last year. It is now no longer in SCHD. Others leaving the index are Cummins, Prudential, Genuine Parts Company, and a slew of financial companies such as Franklin Resources and Cincinnati Financial, among others. On the screen here is the entire list. Really, only the top 3 or so had any significant weighting in the fund. And here are the 25 companies that were added to the index, the largest being AbbVie, Chevron, and UPS, United Parcel Service. They all have a place in the top 10 now, all 3 of those. Also, Blackstone was added, Ford Motor Company was added. I see at least 3 restaurants added between Wendy's, Cracker Barrel, Darden Restaurants, that's like Olive Garden, and others such as Advanced Auto Parts, Williams-Sonoma. These are all now part of SCHD, and here's the whole list on the screen. Now here's how the sector weightings of the fund looked before reconstruction, the middle of March. Heaviest was weighted on the financials at 21% and technology at 16%. But it looks quite different today. Notice Now, the fund is much lighter on financials and technology, while industrials, healthcare, and energy have become larger shares of the pie, which are the sectors of the top 3 stocks that were added. This fund really does rely heavily on that top 10. One thing that remains the same, no real estate. I assume this has to do with keeping that dividend qualified for us. Now here is what the top 10 looked like, the top 10 holdings looked like before the reconstruction. And all 10 of these stocks are still on the index, but some were bumped out of the top 10. And here's how that looks today. Note the additions of UPS, AbbVie, Chevron. And I think an upcoming video looking closer at these 3 stocks is warranted given their new prominent place in our favorite dividend index. Following out of the top 10 here were Broadcom, which had grown to the fund's top holding, Lockheed Martin, BlackRock, and Home Depot. And they're still in the fund, they're just not in the top 10. And Amgen made its way back into the top 10, as did Pfizer. So that's how that healthcare got bumped up. Now, SCHD does have a process that determined all this, as I said. I went over that in our last video in this series. So if you're curious about that, I encourage you to check that out. I'll leave it up right there. And also, if you want to check out what I think are the top stocks to watch for the month of April, you can click into that video as well. And I do appreciate you watching, everyone. And until next time, keep investing.